Hi, I'm Kendra with Where's the Moon Astrology, and today I'm talking about the moon in Virgo. So, real quick, I'm going to make a distinction between the sun's energy and the moon's energy. So, the sun is going to be the most vibrant expression of the traits of a sign. So, if the sun falls in a sign, it's kind of going to be expressing the most annoying traits of that sign, just because it's expressing them very loudly and proudly, it's expressing them very vibrantly. The whole energy of the sun is ego. When you're dealing with the moon's energy, you're dealing with something that's a lot more subtle and much more actually a part of that person's personality. Like it's kind of the core of who they are. So you're dealing with a much more subtle energy, something that really only comes out around people that they are closely connected to, people that they feel very comfortable around. So your moon is going to be expressing generally just with people that you know on a very intimate level, people that you feel comfortable around. And it's going to be, your knee jerk emotional reactions, your immediate emotional reaction to events in your environment. You can cover that up with other energies, especially if you have maybe a more sensitive moon sign and you want to, more masculine sun, you want to cover up some of those more intense emotional reactions. You can cover that up, but the moon is who you are, and that's going to be your natural mode of emotional expression. So, with the moon in Virgo, your emotional expression is sort of logical. But Virgo is a very logical and grounded sign. I wouldn't say it's as unemotional as people try to portray the sign of Virgo being like super, super cerebral and all of this. I do think that Virgo is logical, and they do tend to think their feelings with the moon in Virgo. But one thing that I've noticed about the moon in Virgo in particular is that they are highly self-deprecating. The Virgo is a self-deprecating sign to begin with, but then you have the moon in Virgo. This is like who you are on a very deep level. It's your knee-jerk emotional reactions. Um, so they tend to be very self-deprecating, even though you wouldn't necessarily know that about them when you first meet them, especially if they have the sun in a more self-confident, assertive sign. That would be what you kind of see of them until they get comfortable around you, and then you can really see a lot of those kind of mercurial insecurities, those struggles with anxiety and things of that nature. Um, I think any moon in like moon in Virgo or moon in Gemini, moon in any kind of mercurial sign can be highly anxious. They can be highly, highly anxious and highly critical of themselves, as well as kind of the people around them. So they're going to like really analyze their interactions with other people. Um, moon in Virgo can really beat themselves up for, what they did wrong in a situation, even if they didn't do anything wrong. They can kind of immediately go to this place of how could I have fixed this? How could I have prevented this? This is all my fault. Can be kind of Moon in Virgo's reaction. Now, on the more positive side, Moon in Virgo has a lot of strengths as far as organization, kind of making things, being, it sounds kind of sounds bad saying it like this, but having a servant's heart, for instance, just really caring about serving other people, making sure that things are okay for the people that they love. They like to do nice things. They like to do favors for people. That's one way that they like to express their affection, their love for people, is by doing nice things for them, practical things. The moon in Virgo's expression of love can be very practical because Virgo is a very, very practical sign that expresses love by doing things that can benefit people that they love in a very tangible and material way. So any moon in Earth sign is going to be this way, but Virgo especially because Virgo is ruled by Mercury and it's very much about activity and doing. So they're going to want to express their love in very tangible ways, whether that's cooking dinner for somebody, bringing someone soup when they're sick, um, maybe like putting anti-itch ointment on a rash or something. That was an actual example. Um, Things like that, things that are tangible, things that they can point to and say, I did this for you, I love you, and here's the proof of it. Um, As far as what's going to comfort Moon in Virgo emotionally, that is going to be having some kind of structure, having some kind of something that they can lean on, and they have a set routine, a routine that is going to um, give them some kind of structure and solidity in their lives. So, knowing that they're going to do this at this time, even like, their fun, they like to know that they can rely on their fun, and they can rely on getting to do this thing at the end of the day if they complete all of their chores, all of their activities. But even in the more mundane aspects, they just really like to know what is happening. They don't particularly like to have things thrown at them and have to have to kind of like scrounge around to change their plans. They don't like changing their plans a whole lot. They really like to know what's about to happen and be able to kind of rely on a certain routine. So it's not advisable if you love a moon in Virgo to change things up on them very suddenly. They like to know that they can rely on their connections, on their routine, etc. They also really like to have a very organized environment. Um, I mean, that doesn't now Moon in Virgo isn't always going to be super, super organized. I think a misconception about Virgo in general, anything in Virgo, is that they're super, super organized and anal, and that's just not the case. I know a lot of Virgo people, and they are Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon. I know a lot of people with a lot of Virgo energy, and they just aren't always like that. What I will say about Moon in Virgo is that if they can motivate themselves to do that, and they can motivate themselves to take care of those things, that is when they're going to be the most happy. They're going to be most happy in an organized environment, feeling that um, things are everything has a place and everything's in its place. That is really going to benefit them. And once again, having some kind of structure in their lives is going to be very, very important to them as well. One thing that's really great about Moon and Virgo is that while they can be very meticulous and organized and they prefer to have things a certain way, they are humble enough. Virgos are very humble energy. They are humble enough to not really point the finger and get super angry at you if you don't follow their routine. They do prefer for everyone to fall in line with them, but they're more likely to take the initiative to make things the way they want it themselves than to pin it all on you. Um, Generally, of course, there are other things that can happen in the chart that can make them kind of a little bit more imposing, but typically Virgo is going to take it upon themselves. As far as the moon and Virgo mother, because the moon rules the mother in the chart, your perception of her, your early interaction with her, essentially your mother gives you your moon sign by showing you very early on how to receive affection, what kind of affection you can expect from her, how she teaches you to process your emotional reactions. She gives that to you very early in life. So with the moon in Virgo, the positive manifestation would be you knew that things were going to be a certain way. She had a routine for you. You could wake up in the morning and she would have breakfast going for you. She was very on top of your schoolwork. She knew what was going on in that, she knew what was going on pretty much in every area of your life. She kind of helped you stick to a routine, and very, very involved in your life as well. The negative manifestation of Moon in Virgo, and I've seen this quite a bit, is a mother who is very controlling and somebody who needed to keep tabs on you, kind of. Virgo can be a controlling energy, and a lot of times people who have the moon in Virgo had a mother who is very critical of them, and so they kind of internalize that criticism, and that's how the moon in Virgo is formed, because this mother figure is always very critical of them, and they just internalize that. You really do internalize the voice of your mother. So they just internalize that, and it becomes this whole thing to where it's the voice of their mother in their head all the time, the moon and their mother. Um, and again, really controlling, needed to keep tabs on you, etc. In some cases, it can be very abusive to where, they're verbally degrading you, and they're never really giving you any positive feedback. It's all negative, and it's, all critical. So that's a negative manifestation of the moon in Virgo. Um, that is the end of my video on the moon in Virgo. I really hope you enjoyed it. I did want to let you know that I now have individual planetary report readings in my store. So Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Chiron, and the North Node, South Node, which is labeled Life Purpose Report. Basically, this is isolating one planet in your chart and really, really dissecting it in depth, so you can really understand that planet's function in your chart, what it rules, and how it's affecting everything else that's going on in your chart as well. So anyway, again, I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a great day.